I'm recruiting Jolene to help me. We're gonna split this up and see if we can't fill up the rest of that tote tonight. Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Go on Overland. In this one, we're just up the road over here in Bighorn National Forest from the camp that you saw us in the last video. Guys, I'm tucked away in a little bit of the trees right now because it's super windy. We're out scoping out a new place for the rig. It's kind of behind me right now, but as I spin around, you'll kind of see rigs. There's Jolene. You'll see all these rigs out here. Now guys, I don't know if they're living out here camping. You know, you got 14 days in the National Forest till you have to move again, but I think you'll see that this trend is just growing and growing, even more than I think it was when I was a kid. I don't know if I'm just in a different neck of the woods or what, but guys, if you think those camper prices are going down, they're not. You know, this thing is here to stay. People want to get out and experience some of this freedom that we're experiencing. It's just a different life, you know. So we're gonna grab the rig, we're gonna move it right here, kind of tucked in the tree so we won't have the view like the last video. Where the rig is now, I'll show you in a minute. You do have that view, but the wind is just kind of intense. We're gonna get nestled in here, we're gonna get a fire going. Tonight, we're not cooking on the fire, we're gonna have spaghetti, but we're gonna have a nice little fire. There's just a forest of wood for us. As you see behind me, we got as much fuel as we could possibly need. I think it's gonna be awesome, and we'd love for you guys to come along as we just have a neat little campsite over here in the mountains of Wyoming. All right guys, so here's the rig. Check out that view though. I'm sure the audio is really bad. Indiana's marking his spot. Just a little too windy for our liking, so we'll walk over and enjoy the view. Maybe with a cup of coffee later, but at this point we're gonna grab the rig and we're gonna get tucked into those trees. You can see all in the distance, there's nothing but RVs out there. I can't tell you what the timing was on these tires. The money came through and we decided to grab them, and now we can come out to places like this with a little bit of confidence. I mean, this isn't the most rugged or anything like that, but it just gives us that confidence that we can go to the places that we really want to go. This is an absolute perfect spot to go ahead and use the pop-up fire pit. Now, some guys did have a pit right over here, but we decided where the camper's at, we don't even want to go that far, so this is a perfect place to use this. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up, and then we're just going to scrounge for firewood all across the forest. There's so much dead stuff here, you would never have to worry about firewood in 100 years. This is one time I'm actually going to go ahead and use this. This actually protects the ground. It keeps it from getting really hot. And I think it's a good place to use it because you do have a bunch of this dry stuff down here. So we're going to keep a good eye on it like we always do, but we'll go ahead and run this time. Alright guys, so this forest just makes it too easy on us. There's all this dry stuff. It seems like just yesterday I was over in Georgia or Florida dealing with this damp, wet wood that just would not light. So I'm grabbing just all these pine needles, and all this stuff has been dead for a while, making myself kind of a makeshift tinder bundle, if you will, but it just doesn't require much effort out here. It's like cheating, but that's why you also got to be aware of your surroundings, that you're not starting a forest fire. So I still have this Whiskey and Wilderness fire starter I was showing you guys a couple episodes back. Now after you put the fire out, you'll actually end up making this really tight. So you want to fluff that quite a bit, otherwise it's really not going to ignite. So I've went ahead and fluffed up those fibers. Alright, so that's lit. That's basically just like a torch. And we're gonna cheat and hold that under there. Oh, it went out. Alright. So again, I'm gonna extinguish this. Now that's out. And I have my little sticks nearby. In case I got that light, I want to be ready to actually start my fire. Here's a little stump I found that I was chopping up all those branches on. Originally I had put them up over there, and then I realized I need to kind of get them a little bit smaller and manageable. So I found a nice little stump here. I have just a small little hatchet there. And in the back, I'm gonna have to take you guys over there. I found a log right there that's mine. I'm gonna go ahead and take my saw and portion that up, and then we'll have some firewood again for tonight. I'll start using some more of this stuff, but I'm really looking for some good wood that I can take with me. So that one back there has my name on it. So I really wanted to take down a dead standing tree with my new axe that I got, but I found this guy here, and you know, it is awesome. It's a good piece of wood, so we're just gonna quarter this up and it's gonna do the trick. I'll have to take down another tree another day. Alright guys, so I cheated at the end a bit. A couple things going on. I have a extremely cheap bow saw here, and I really need a new blade. Let me catch my breath. That's the biggest thing. I just need a new blade for this thing. And it kind of limits me for this size log, because at some point you can't get through a really big log. I actually am looking at the Milwaukee cordless option chainsaw. You know, that might be something in the future that I want to have on the rig. We could quarter this up in just a few minutes flat. But something that I think in the near future is, of course, a new blade, and then I'm going to be looking at silky saws. Now, if you haven't checked out silky saws, make sure and just look up a couple of videos on YouTube, and you'll kind of see why I'm looking at it. They have the big boy, the pocket boy, a few good options. You can come out into the forest and do some bushcraft and really get it done in a lot quicker time. The blades are Japanese, they're super sharp. This thing is I don't know what, and it's like 50 years old. I have no way of knowing that, but at any rate, I'm going to keep getting through a couple of these because I'm bound and determined to take some of this wood with me. I could get through it a little bit quicker with the axe, but then it's really hard to split. So at this point, I can go in there and just split it up really easy. Alright, so I went down and cut the end of that off, so now I can rotate it, and then I don't have to have as big of a saw, because then I can start again on the other side and get a better cut, so I don't have to be busting it off like that. Alright guys, there's that little bit of firewood that I was able to get corded up. The fire's still doing awesome, and my spaghetti is ready. We're working through a bunch of this stuff, but as you can tell, it's just endless out here. You could burn that little stuff forever, so I really want to take this stuff with us. You've seen in past videos we have this plastic tote that we have our firewood in. Here's that fire pit I was telling you they had before. So again, it's really not too far from the camper, but we have the pop-up fire pit and we really love it. Back over here, guys, is where I've been working. There's my new axe and that log. Real quickly on this axe, this isn't new, it's new to me. This is a plastic wedge that they put in there. Alright, so you got two pieces of wood. That's the axe handle with a plastic wedge down the middle. Now let me just tell you that plastic and wood don't mix and match. I had the head basically come off twice. So in a future video, I'm going to be taking this out and putting a wood wedge in there, and then a metal. They have these new round wedges that you can put on there. We'll see if I can get my hands on one of those, or if just a traditional metal step down wedge. But at any rate, this thing is decent. It's the size of a boy's axe, they call it, but it's a really good size for a camp axe. It's good for taking down pretty much any of these trees out here. It would do pretty decent, especially with the smaller ones. It could take any of these trees down, and then it can split firewood. So you also have the hatchet for that smaller stuff I was doing, but this is a really good size and something small enough that you can carry with you. Let's head back over here. Here's that log. I'm going to come back to it tomorrow. Make sure I can grab my saw off the ground. But guys, this has a lot left to give, and I'm not over. It's just dinner time. So me and you, Mr. Log, I'll see you in the morning. Check it out, guys. What more could you ask for? Awesome little campsite, tucked away. Yes, there's some people in the background, but this is nothing like a state park. We have this place all to ourselves. All the firewood we could possibly want. And unlike, I know I'm picking on Georgia and Alabama and Florida, but unlike that wood, this stuff is primo. It's ready to go. There it is, guys. Jolene's been hard at it, making some meat and spaghetti. Got the fire going. The camper is doing its thing with its new tires. I'm about to chow down and we'll get back with you as it gets towards evening and we get this fire going a little bit more. See if we can't cook some s'mores. Maybe this little doggy will even get one. So that old piece of wood in the bottom of this bucket is from Georgia. I always use that to split and chop on. You guys have probably seen it in a bunch of videos, but I'm going to load this bucket up and we'll see how much more that we need to put in here so that we have a ton of wood to take with us wherever we go. So I was fitting the rest of that wood into our little plastic tote, and it's still today, and I just can't rest on this. I need to fill that tote tonight. So I went back over there and chopped 2 more sections off the end of the skinny end, so I cheated a bit. I'm recruiting Jolene to help me. We're gonna split this up and see if we can't fill up the rest of that tote tonight. I did cut my finger in the middle. That saw, you're basically punching back and forth at the wood. Here we go. Yeah. That saw's got your knuckles in a bad spot with that saw. Hey, there's 2 more. Finally I hit a knot, so we might get that cleaned up a bit. We're gonna split these 2 little logs and see if they won't fill the rest of that tub just perfectly. Well guys, I think this is a good opportunity to go ahead and remind you guys about my giver gloves. Now I have a brand deal with these guys. There's an affiliate link in the description below. These guys are actually from this part of the country, and if I were wearing these, I would have not busted my knuckle. Now it's not often that I like grabbing my gloves, just because sometimes I'm lazy or I don't think about it, but I really am getting tired of busting my knuckles and stuff like that. So I think this might be a reminder for me to reach out for my giver gloves a little bit more often. These guys are based out of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Here we are in beautiful Wyoming, just miles away from their store. So a little plug for these guys. I have some winter gloves I'll be breaking out. They're just inside the camper. I have the classics. They're lined, and then they have some mittens and stuff like that. So awesome gloves. I'll put a link below. Make sure and check them out. We're gonna roast some marshmallows. I am gonna get back on that log in the morning. We're losing our light, so I think we'll call it here for the night, and we'll see you guys in the morning. Well, here it is the next morning, guys. We had an awesome, peaceful sleep. Right before we went to bed, we actually had a bit of a rainstorm. So that was kind of nice. It smells really good this morning. Just reflecting on the National Forest and kind of the work that the people did before us. And, you know, they carved out these chunks of land that we can all come and share and use. You know, I'm not a big fan of government. I think the government ought to stay out of most of my life. But at any rate, you know, for them to set aside a bit of ground that's not just one person's land that we can all come up and use freely. I mean, there's RVs as far as the eye can see over all these hills and stuff, and everyone's just having a blast and doing their own thing for different reasons. You know, yesterday we were leaving the little camp that we showed you on the last video, and I was talking to people about their travels and what they're up to, and it just seems like people are traveling for different reasons. You know, some people are retired, some people are on a break from work, and then some people work on the road. And so, you know, we have a traveling business, and we're just so blessed to have that to get us from A to B, and we end up seeing the entire country. Now, like I said, this area, as we move west into Idaho, into Washington, Oregon, we just fell in love with that area so much. You know, there's parts of Wyoming I could see calling home. There's definitely parts of Montana I could see calling home. So we'll see what God has in our future, but at some point we're going to plant some roots, at least to have kind of a place that we can go back to from time to time. So we'll see what that ends up being, and we'll make sure and talk to you guys about that here on the channel. But at any rate, guys, we are going to get out of here pretty soon. We're going to start cleaning up camp and just moseying on down the road. We got one more night out here in the wilderness, and then we'll be into Cody, getting ready for our next show, getting kind of serious about work and stuff like that. So guys, this is kind of what we've been going on about for so long as we were traveling, and you know, we really did learn so much down in the south. We spent a lot of time in Texas already, but not some of those state parks. Those were awesome. We had some really neat places that we found out there. So if you haven't, make sure and look back in some of our videos, guys. If you're new here, we have a bunch of fun travels. I wouldn't want you to just see what's coming, but we have some fun stuff in the past. So be sure to check that out, guys. If you would, we'd love for you to subscribe. You know, click the bell. You'll get notified anytime we put a video out. There's a lot of fun stuff, again, on the future, and we'd love to have you guys along for that. Until the next one, God bless you. Get up and go on.